There comes a moment on the twin flame journey that feels like the ground has disappeared beneath your feet. One day the connection is alive, electric, undeniable, and the next, it's as if the thread has been cut. You can't feel them anymore. The silence is louder than ever, and you're left wondering if something has gone terribly wrong. But what if this emptiness isn't a loss, but a signal, a shift? In the unseen realms of the psyche and the cosmos, energy is never stagnant. The universe may be recalibrating, and your soul is being called to evolve beyond attachment and into alignment. In this journey of loss and reconnection, Jungian wisdom offers a powerful lens where shadow work, projection, and individuation reveal the deeper truths of spiritual love. If this resonates with you, comment below. I trust the universe and my soul's transformation. Carl Jung's analytical psychology offers profound insight into the mystery of feeling disconnected from your twin flame. In Jungian terms, what seems like an external disconnection is often a reflection of an internal transformation. The twin flame bond is not just a romantic or spiritual fantasy. It is a mirror of the psyche's deepest drive toward wholeness. When you can no longer feel your twin flame, it's possible that the energy once projected onto them is now withdrawing, returning to its source, you. One of Jung's core principles is projection, the unconscious act of placing our own unrecognized qualities onto another person. Twin flames often trigger this process intensely. We see the divine, the ideal, and even our wounded self in the other. But as we evolve, these projections begin to dissolve. What once felt like loss is actually integration. The traits we admired or longed for in our twin are being reclaimed within ourselves. This is where the concept of the shadow becomes crucial. The disappearance or detachment from the twin flame may signal a confrontation with the unconscious shadow, the hidden, suppressed parts of us that now demand recognition. This phase isn't punishment, it's an initiation. The universe, in Jungian language, is the self-orchestrating experiences to bring us closer to individuation, the sacred process of becoming whole. Furthermore, the masculine and feminine archetypes, the animus and anima, often get entangled in twin flame dynamics. Feeling the absence of the other may be a cue from the psyche to begin harmonizing these inner polarities. As these energies shift and align, the outer world reflects the new order. So when the connection fades, remember, the soul's alchemy is unfolding from within. The sudden silence from a twin flame, the aching distance that replaces the once electric bond, can feel like a spiritual abandonment. Yet from a Jungian perspective, this rupture may not be a sign of loss, but of profound psychic evolution. At the heart of Carl Jung's psychological theory lies the concept of projection, a mechanism by which the unconscious mind attributes internal qualities, often disowned or idealized, onto another person. In twin flame relationships, projection is intensified. The other seems to carry everything we long for: divine love, cosmic purpose, even lost parts of ourselves. But when we can no longer feel their presence, it is often because the soul is ready to reclaim what was projected. Projection serves a sacred but temporary function. It allows us to see parts of ourselves in another person until we are strong enough to internalize those qualities. In the early stages of a twin flame connection, the feeling of recognition is so intense because it is not only about the other, it is about seeing ourselves reflected through them. This mirroring effect can awaken us, stir deep emotions, and catalyze transformation. However, the danger lies in mistaking the mirror for the source. When we believe that our love, light, or sense of wholeness exists only in the presence of the twin, we remain trapped in dependence. That's when the universe intervenes, not to punish, but to liberate. When you can no longer feel your twin flame, something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface. The projections are beginning to dissolve. The image you cast onto them, of being your source of love, purpose, or completion, is being returned to its rightful place, within. This withdrawal can feel devastating because it dismantles the fantasy and confronts you with the inner vacancy that projection once concealed. It is at this precise moment that the psyche opens the door to transformation. Jung taught that the path to individuation, the process of becoming whole, requires us to reclaim the psychic energy we place in others. The intensity of a twin flame bond is not sustainable at its projected peak. Eventually, the energy must be redirected inward, toward the self. The universe, in its wisdom, orchestrates this redirection by shifting the energetic field between the two souls. This isn't abandonment, it's invitation. The absence of the other is the soul's cue to begin integrating the qualities once externalized: compassion, strength, divinity, unconditional love. This process also reveals the deep truth that the connection was never severed, only transformed. The twin was never the source of your light, they were the activator of it. Their presence awakened something dormant in you. Their absence now demands that you embody it. Jung's framework reminds us that what we seek externally is a symbol of what must be discovered internally. When you stop feeling your twin flame, it's not because the love is gone. It's because the projection has served its purpose, and now the archetypal energy of love is being invited home. This moment is not the end of the journey, but a sacred turning point. It's where the twin flame path matures from ecstatic recognition to embodied wholeness. The longing that once stretched outward now curves inward, asking, who am I without them? Who was I before them? And more importantly, who am I becoming now? These are not questions of despair, but of power. When the projection lifts, what remains is the raw truth of the self, no longer idealized through another but discovered in its own right. This is the unseen grace in the silence. The spiritual disconnection is, in truth, a psychic return. The universe, guided by the deeper intelligence of the self, is shifting the dynamic from dependency to sovereignty, from reflection to integration. This is the moment when you stop chasing and start becoming. The outer presence dissolves, so the inner presence can awaken. The twin flame connection doesn't end here. It deepens, changes form, and reorients toward union, not just with the other, but with yourself. When the presence of the twin flame fades, it often leaves behind a profound emptiness, a silent ache that words cannot touch. This inner void is not simply a sign of separation, it is the arrival of the shadow. In Jungian psychology, the shadow represents all the parts of ourselves that we repress, deny, or refuse to acknowledge. It contains not only what we fear, but also what we've disowned, hidden strengths, forgotten desires, and untapped potential. The moment we lose access to the comforting, energetic presence of the twin flame, the psyche turns inward and downwards, plunging us into the underworld of the unconscious. This is not a descent into darkness as punishment. It is a sacred summons to meet the parts of ourselves that the twin flame once protected us from. The twin flame connection often acts as a shield from the shadow. As long as the other is there, reflecting beauty, light, and purpose, we can defer the confrontation with our own inner fragmentation. But when that mirror disappears, what remains is not just loneliness, it is the raw material of the self calling to be seen. The emptiness you feel is not empty at all. It is full of unintegrated memories, wounds, fears, longings, and truths waiting to be faced. Jung believed that the shadow was not evil in itself, but rather a gateway to wholeness. To embrace the shadow is to reclaim the fullness of the human experience, not just the light, but the darkness that shapes it. In the absence of your twin flame's energy, unresolved emotions often come to the surface. Abandonment wounds, rejection, self-doubt, and even despair can arise with intensity. These are not random or meaningless. They are fragments of the self that were projected outward onto the twin, now returning for integration. When you no longer feel their energy, the psyche is creating space for what has long been suppressed to emerge. It may feel like loss, but it is actually confrontation. A confrontation with the self beneath the illusion of perfect union. This phase is critical in the individuation process. Jung taught that we cannot become whole by clinging to the persona, the mask we wear, or the ego's limited view. We must journey into the depths of the unconscious, meet the shadow face to face, and reclaim the energy that has been trapped there. The twin flame's absence functions like a cosmic door opening into your inner cave. It is an invitation to explore your pain, your fear, your unresolved grief, and to see them not as flaws, but as vital aspects of your personal myth. What makes this stage so difficult is that the shadow often appears in forms we resist: emotional chaos, fatigue, confusion, or the overwhelming sense of being cut off from the spiritual realm. But Jung's work reminds us that the shadow is not there to destroy us. It is there to complete us. It is through descent into the shadow that the gold is found, the hidden soul stuff that was never gone, only buried. When the twin flame is present, we often feel illuminated. But when they are gone, we must become the source of our own light. The shadow phase challenges us to stop looking outward for validation and instead become radically honest with what lies within. This can include acknowledging patterns of emotional dependency, avoidance, or fantasies of idealized love that kept us from true self-recognition. As these insights arise, the energy that was bound in shadow begins to move. What once felt like a void becomes a well, deep, rich, and full of potential. In confronting the shadow, the disconnection becomes meaningful. You are no longer just someone who has been left behind by your twin flame. You are now someone standing at the threshold of psychic reintegration. The shadow phase is painful, yes, but it is also sacred. The psyche does not waste suffering. Every tear shed in this stage waters the soil of your own becoming. This is the work the universe demands in silence, not waiting for the twin flame to return, but becoming the version of yourself that no longer needs them to feel whole. The paradox is that when you stop clinging to the other, when you allow yourself to descend into the uncomfortable truths of the shadow, you emerge stronger, wiser, and more fully yourself. And in that state, the connection, whether it returns or not, no longer defines you. You define you. As the felt presence of the twin flame begins to dissolve, many describe it as though the energy between two souls has shifted completely. What was once vivid, magnetic, and constant now becomes subtle, ambiguous, or even silent. From a Jungian perspective, this shift is not random, it is archetypal. It signals a reconfiguration in the inner world, where the fundamental masculine and feminine energies, known as the anima and animus, begin to realign in response to the soul's maturation. These inner figures, far from being simple representations of gender, are profound psychic forces that shape how we relate to ourselves, to others, and to the divine. The anima, in Jung's theory, is the inner feminine figure within the masculine psyche, an embodiment of emotion, intuition, nurturing, creativity, and the unconscious. The animus is the inner masculine in the feminine psyche, representing will, logic, direction, action, and spiritual clarity. In the early stages of a twin flame connection, these archetypes are often projected outward onto the other. We experience the twin flame not just as a person, but as the living embodiment of our inner divine counterpart. This is what makes the bond feel transcendent. We are not just in love, we are meeting our own inner archetype through another person. But this externalization cannot be sustained forever. Eventually, as the soul seeks to grow, the archetypes must return home. The twin flame's energetic distance is a signal that these internal figures are withdrawing their projections from the outer world, demanding to be recognized and integrated within. The experience of no longer feeling the twin flame can therefore be understood as a kind of energetic vacuum, not because the energy is gone, but because it is turning inward. This creates a period of spiritual disconnection that is actually the groundwork for inner union. The anima and animus are not passive forces. When they remain unconscious, they distort how we perceive the world. An unintegrated anima might cause a man to chase idealized fantasies of love, mistaking emotional chaos for intimacy. An unintegrated animus might cause a woman to fixate on judgment, control, or spiritual authority outside herself. In both cases, the twin flame becomes the stage onto which these archetypes are projected. But as energy begins to shift, the illusions begin to crack. The idealized vision of the other dissolves, and what remains is the raw psychological material waiting to be reclaimed. This withdrawal is often misinterpreted as abandonment, but Jung's wisdom reminds us what is falling away externally is being activated internally. The silence is not emptiness. It is a signal that the inner masculine and feminine are ready to meet, not through the other, but within the self. This moment of inner work is not a retreat from love. It is love returning to its source. The psyche begins to form a new structure, one where balance replaces projection and inner stability replaces outer dependence. The realignment of the anima and animus can be disorienting. You may feel ungrounded, confused, or caught between identities. Emotional surges, existential questioning, and intuitive awakenings are common during this phase. The masculine within may begin to emerge as a voice of direction, urging action or discipline. The feminine may arise in dreams, visions, or emotions, calling for surrender, nurturing, and receptivity. These archetypes, once filtered through the twin flame, are now integrating into conscious awareness, allowing you to embody the qualities you once sought in another. This is where profound healing occurs. You begin to feel what the twin flame once made you feel, not because they return, but because the inner union is being restored. You begin to trust your intuition, not because someone confirms it, but because you are attuned to your own inner feminine. You begin to take decisive action, not because someone pushes you, but because the inner masculine is now alive within. The energetic shift that once felt like a rupture is in truth a recalibration, a balancing of sacred polarities within your soul. Jung understood that true relationship is not built on projection, but on wholeness. When the anima and animus are integrated, the individual no longer seeks completion in another, but instead brings their full self into every relationship. The spiritual disconnection from the twin flame, painful as it may be, is thus a sacred preparation. It clears the space for inner alignment, so that future connection, whether with the twin flame or another, arises from authenticity rather than lack. What the universe is doing in this phase is not removing love, but refining it. The outer bond is suspended so the inner structure can evolve, and in doing so, the anima and animus, once scattered and fragmented, come into union, not in theory, but in lived experience. This is the beginning of sacred sovereignty. This is the path of the soul reclaiming its power. The moment you stop feeling your twin flame's energy is often the moment your soul begins a far more profound journey, not toward reunion with the other, but toward union with yourself. In Jungian psychology, this process is called individuation. It is not simply about self-development. It is the soul's sacred path toward wholeness. Individuation demands that you move beyond illusion, beyond fantasy, and beyond the longing for someone else to complete you. It asks you to confront yourself fully, to integrate all your parts, both light and shadow, masculine and feminine, and to become what you once searched for in another. Twin flame separation, painful as it is, becomes a gateway to this deeper inner transformation. When the bond goes silent and the energy seems lost, the ego protests. It wants to recover what once felt safe, divine, and destined. But the soul knows something the ego does not, that this space of separation is where the true work begins. Longing becomes the fire that burns away dependence. Silence becomes the container in which the authentic self can be reborn. Jung taught that suffering is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of meaning. And in this spiritual silence, meaning begins to emerge. In the early phases of the twin flame dynamic, much of the connection is built on projection, emotional fusion, and archetypal attraction. But individuation is the sacred process that undoes those illusions. It pulls you back into yourself, not to isolate you, but to bring you into alignment with who you truly are. When you can no longer feel your twin flame, the unconscious is inviting you to stop chasing love and start becoming it. This is not the kind of love that waits for someone else to arrive. This is the love that arises from within, steady, rooted, and complete. The pain of separation becomes a powerful spiritual teacher. Every moment of absence becomes an opportunity to turn inward, not with bitterness but with curiosity. What parts of you did the connection reveal? What parts were neglected in the presence of the other? Who were you before the merging? And who are you now as you stand in this silence? Individuation invites you to answer these questions not intellectually, but experientially. It is not about fixing the self, but realizing that the self was never broken, only incomplete, fragmented by unconscious patterns that are now being brought to light. This is why the universe shifts the energy, not to abandon you, but to align you. The removal of the twin flame's energetic presence is often a cosmic signal that your soul is strong enough to stand on its own, to hold its own inner polarity without projecting it outward. You are being asked to remember that the qualities you loved in them, their passion, their insight, their spiritual essence, were always reflections of what exists within you. Separation strips away the illusion so that you can finally claim those qualities as your own. As individuation unfolds, something profound begins to change. You no longer wait for the connection to return in order to feel peace. You no longer define your worth by whether or not you are in energetic union. Instead, you begin to embody the wholeness that the twin flame connection once mirrored. This doesn't mean the bond disappears, it means it evolves. The need for the other transforms into love for the self. The external pull gives way to internal alignment, and from this place, all relationships become sacred, not because they complete you, but because they reflect your completeness. The higher purpose of separation, then, is not to keep twin flames apart, but to make them whole on their own terms. Only from a place of inner union can true outer union ever occur. Jung knew that real transformation could not be rushed or forced. It had to emerge organically, from the tension between opposites, from the confrontation with the unconscious, and from the willingness to let go of what is familiar in order to step into what is true. So when you can't feel your twin flame anymore, trust that this too is part of the design. The universe, guided by the deeper intelligence of the self, is not taking love away. It is redirecting it inward. You are being led not into emptiness, but into authenticity, into freedom, into a kind of union that no longer depends on the presence of another because it lives fully within you. This is individuation. This is the hidden gift of separation, and this is the moment where longing ends and wholeness begins. The silence that once felt like abandonment slowly reveals itself as initiation. Losing the energetic thread of your twin flame is not a punishment. It is a profound redirection, orchestrated by the deeper layers of your soul and the unconscious intelligence of the universe. Through the lens of Jungian psychology, this experience is far more than emotional detachment. It is a rite of passage into individuation, wholeness, and inner sovereignty. Projection dissolves, the shadow emerges, archetypes realign, and the longing once directed outward transforms into inner union. You were never meant to find yourself through another, but through the mirror they held, and now through the absence that invites you to look within. The journey does not end when the connection fades. That is where it truly begins. So if you've stopped feeling them, know this. The energy is not gone. It is evolving, and so are you. Trust the transformation. Trust the timing. And most of all, trust that everything is unfolding to bring you back to the truth of who you are. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and dive deeper into your own journey of self-discovery. Watch the next video appearing on your screen. Your path forward may begin right there.